Welcome everyone for another episode of Get Tech Smart. I am your host, Flo Nicholas, and I am very excited today to finally have this huge company that's right here in New Hampshire. I've been trying to get their attention, and well, I'm happy I continued to kind of wave around because, well, today we have BAE. Yes, oh my goodness, we have BAE. I can't even believe I'm saying this right now. So welcome today, Laurel Skiff. Thank you so much for being here. I'm truly excited. Before we get into the details, I just want to say that, one, I'm really happy that you're here, because one thing that a lot of people right here in New Hampshire don't see is just how much community outreach programs are available from big companies that are right here in New Hampshire, especially BAE, which is one of the biggest companies that's right here in New Hampshire. So today we're going to talk about kind of the pre and early career outreach programs, and you would know this because you're the lead for this department, that are available to residents that are right here in New Hampshire. So welcome to Get Tech Smart.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and to talk about what we're doing as far as our community outreach as it relates to STEM.
Yes, and STEM, I've been seeing a lot of push for STEM. You and I actually ran into each other at the Wicked STEM event.
That was fun.
It was great, phenomenal, incredible opportunity. So I'm glad you were there as well. But let's get into the juicy details.
Sure.
Because if you go on the BAE website and you look out the community outreach program, there's a lot.
There is.
There is a lot available. And to be honest with you, I don't really think that a lot of people probably know about them.
Sure.
I found out about the BAE Community Outreach Program because I have a neighbor whose daughters actually participated. And even then, I just was like, wow, that's incredible. So we're going to talk about 4 programs that are available. One of them that's dear to me because I'm an advocate for women in technology. So let's kick off, and I want to learn more about this and share with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with just a little bit of an overview. So we do have 4 programs that we're currently offering for high school students to really engage in STEM and get some hands-on experience while also hearing about careers and potential career pathways for them as they explore their future in engineering, science, technology, and math. We have 3 programs that are in person, where we actually bring students into BAE systems and allow them to work hand in hand with our engineers on cool projects. And then we have a virtual program too for folks that may be not within driving distance of our facilities in the southern New Hampshire area. So Women in Technology is one of those programs. It is about 16 weeks long for 24 female identifying students that are typically the junior or senior age range. We find that they engage a little bit more than some of the lower grades, so we like to keep it at that level.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so it's a 16-week program, and when does it start?
Yeah, so this upcoming session is going to be starting in January, and it goes through May. So they'll actually visit our facility. They'll visit multiple BAE facilities through the 16 weeks. Every week we host at a different location, so they get to explore some of the programs that actually happen within those buildings. They'll do some tours, and then they'll also engage in different modules that help them explore engineering concepts,
right,
different technologies, and really get hands-on and try to explore those different avenues.
Yeah, is there anything you can share in terms of like any specific technology that they can work on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a module on radio frequency technology, which is obviously a big place that we're focusing at BAE Systems, so they get to explore that. One of the great things about Women in Technology as well is we actually have a roundtable session where I like to call it speed networking. They get to engage one-on-one with women at BAE Systems who will share a little bit about what their journey has been like getting to the positions that they're in the company, what they studied in college, what that transition was like from career to career, or from school to career.
Right.
So that's a really nice engagement that the students get as part of WIT as well.
Yeah, so now if it started in January and it's for 16 weeks, so now some of these students are in classes, so how are they doing the program and getting to class at the same
Yeah,
time?
we try to time it such that they have enough time to get there after school. So it's
Oh,
a
great.
3:30 to 5:30, so 2 hours every week, and that takes place on Tuesday evenings.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's like after school, which, again, from 3:30 to 5:30, they can still get back home and do their homework.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that, as a woman in tech, that I haven't really gotten exposed to until right now, late in my career, is mentorship. So you mentioned the round table that, they have an opportunity to meet other women who are right here in BAE. But are there mentorships available during that 16 weeks as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The nice thing about this program, as with all of our programs, is that it's actually BAE Systems employees who are teaching the concepts in the curriculum. So they develop really great relationships with the students. They're always, an advocate for them if they're struggling in anything school-wise. They're helping them out. They're helping them to visualize where they might want to take their career or education. They're answering questions for them about what their journeys have been like. So in that way, mentorship happens the entire time throughout all of these programs.
No, that's phenomenal. So I want to join the program. I'm a junior or a senior, right now. We'll just pretend I'm a junior or senior. And I want to join the program.
Yep.
And how many people do you normally get? About like 24?
It's 24 for women in technology, yes.
Okay, so how do I stand out, right? Because we got to kind of let them know a little bit of the tricks of
Absolutely.
how to stand out and get picked.
Yeah, so there is an application process that all the students will have to go through, and a lot of it is fairly generic. We just kind of want to know a little bit about you, where you go to school, some of the extracurricular things that you might be involved in. We also ask questions like, what other STEM activities are you doing? Are you familiar with VEX Robotics? Are you on a FIRST robotics team? Are you doing those different avenues to also explore your interest in STEM? And then there is an essay component because we really want to understand what's drawing them to this program. What are the things that they're excited to learn about, and how do they see this fitting into their overall education and career path?
Yeah. Now, is that a prerequisite that they have some sort of a STEM background? Would that knock me out of
Not necessarily. We try to mix it up, honestly, because we want a good balance of folks that maybe have a little bit more experience and can help those who are brand new to STEM. But it's nice to have folks that are just coming in because they're genuinely interested in what it all means. I think especially for young women, it's not often a place where they can see themselves. And so the benefit of this program is it's a really safe space where they can come together with other young women who have the same interests as them. They can see BAE Systems women and how they've advanced in their careers over time. So it's a really nice community in that way.
No, I think this is a fantastic program. I wish I was exposed to something like this, and this is why it's really essential that you are here, because we are seeing, especially in Alvin High School, an increase in more girls that are interested in STEM. So for them to know, oh wow, there's this other program that's available for me, and oh, fantastic, I can connect with women in tech and get a perspective of their careers, their career path, and all the things that they're doing, and mentorship, which is, and you said something that I always say is, you walk in a room and you see people that look like you. So being part of that program and walking in and seeing women all around you, I think that is absolutely fantastic. So if someone applies for the program and they get in the program and they do the 16 weeks, can they reapply again the following year?
They cannot. So it's a one and done. Once you've gone through it, you wouldn't be eligible to do it again. However, you would be eligible for our other programs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So it's not such that if you've done WIT, you can't do Focus or one of the others. After WIT, what we encourage the students to do is apply for a high school internship. We have limited high school internship opportunities, and one of the prerequisites for engineering is you have to have gone through one of our programs. So that sort of sets them up to be successful in that way. And then stay connected with us so that when it's time to go to college and it's time to apply for summer internships, they've already had exposure to BAE Systems. They potentially have some references from mentors and folks that they've met, and that can help them get in the door for an internship in the summer.
Right, and I think that's critical, is the staying in touch.
Absolutely.
It's not a, hey, see you later, thank you. No, we don't want to talk to you. We're done.
Yeah.
No, it's a, hey, we're going to continue to help you if you need our assistance, and which is really great. So you mentioned that they could, once they're done with this program, move on to another program. So what do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, let's talk about Focus.
Yes, okay.
Focus is a similar program to Women in Technology, but it is co-ed, so it's for both male and female, all genders are eligible to apply for that program. It also expands a little bit such that we will admit freshmen through seniors.
Oh, nice.
And we do that because the curriculum is really structured in a way that it's an introduction to all things engineering. It's a 11-week curriculum, so the first 5 weeks, they're actually getting lessons, essentially, in different engineering disciplines from seasoned engineers who are working at BAE Systems. So last night, for example, they had their software engineering module, which was really fun. They got to learn a little bit about block coding and play around with Vex Robotics, which is going to be what they'll do in the second part of the program, where they'll be teamed up and they'll be working on a project to design, build, and code a robot, and then they get to compete that robot together.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Wow. So they're learning software engineering concepts, they're learning how to code, and then you got an element of robotics in there, which is all areas that, you know, when I look at statistics, where our school kids are struggling with.
Absolutely.
So to have that exposure where it is that hands-on training, I think is a huge benefit to students.
Absolutely.
And it's open from freshmen to seniors. So what's the time of this one?
Yeah, so we're in the middle of our fall session right now, so that will run until December, and then we'll open up again for a winter session, which will be January to probably about April of next year. So that application period will open in November. We take 18 students for that program, and they can be from any school. For all of our programs, we accept students that are, if they're within driving distance to our facilities in southern New Hampshire, they're eligible to apply.
And what time do they, is it after school as well with
It
this
is,
one?
yep, this one's 6 to 8, so it's a little bit longer than Women in Technology because they are doing a really robust project as part of their curriculum, so we want to give them ample time to work on that. I'll tell you, it flies by.
Yeah, I bet it does. I mean, they're having fun. And I'm curious, do they earn any type of like badges, like I was a BAE, you know?
They do. So we actually have a system that we use called Tallow, which is a, I like to call it a LinkedIn for students, which connects them to different companies and universities. First Robotics uses this to connect with students. So they actually get a digital badge when they go through this program that they can put on their Tallow profile, which potentially helps them in building their resumes, applying for colleges in the future.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So, you know, I'm really interested in all the programs that are going on. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking this is so strategic of BAE, because you're literally creating a database of future employees, right? It's like, that's the way I look at it. You guys are really providing these students with this hands-on skills to help them with like problem solving, critical thinking, logic, which is really great for coding. And these are potential, you know, probably 10 years from now, the next engineer that's going to work at BAE.
That's certainly what we hope for, right? Obviously, these are great community outreach programs. You know, supporting the communities where we live and work is so important to BAE, but it is a little self-serving in that it's also building our pipeline. What we hope is that, you know, these students will be inspired to continue to explore STEM, that they're going to go to a college and get a degree that's relevant, and then they're going to remember BAE Systems when it comes time to apply for their jobs.
Well, I would definitely remember if I'm working on all the cool stuff that they're working on right now. It's like, what an honor. So we have the Women in Tech and we have Focus. Those are more in person and they're also hands-on. You did mention earlier on is that there is a program that's available because not everyone has the ability to actually come to an in-session program. So let's talk about the virtual opportunities that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So our STEM Talks program is our virtual program, and this actually started during COVID. We had to shut down Focus. We had to shut down Women in Technology. We weren't doing Engineering Career Day, and we were getting a lot of you know, calls and emails from students and from faculty and administrators saying, we're missing the connection with BAE, and we really wish
Right.
that you would do something. So we pulled this together to kind of fill that need, but it was so successful that we've kept it. So STEM Talks is a 6-week program that's 100% virtual. We meet over Zoom once a week for an hour and a half, and our employees essentially give like tech talks, or they give talks about their career to the students just to introduce some concepts. So some of the things that we will highlight is the history of electronics. We have somebody talk about, look at how much has evolved over time, and talk about some of the things that we're doing at BAE Systems today. We have another one that's a day in the life of a mechanical engineer. If you're interested in that aspect and you really want to find out what do they do day to day, you can come and hear a STEM talk about that. So it's a little bit of a different flavor. The nice component of that is we also have a hands-on activity that happens as part of those sessions with supplies that the students will hopefully have on hand at home. So it'll help them sort of still get that hands-on component even though they can't be with us in person.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Now, have you guys ever considered building some type of like a toolkit of supplies that you actually send out to the students?
Yeah, I think that's the evolution of the program and where we want to go next, which is let's get really intentional about what they're going to do and make sure that we can provide some supplies for them to be able to be successful
Yeah,
there.
no, that makes sense. And now, what are the age groups for the people who can do the virtual program?
Yeah, it's really open to anybody. We try to keep it the high school level, but we have had some 8th and 9th graders that have also participated that I think get a lot out of the program if they're just scratching the surface of, what is STEM and I might be interested in being an engineer. It really helps them to kind of explore that a little bit more. Open to any student across the US. And so as long as they're available to make those meetings, we usually cap it at about 50 students, just to keep it, meaningful enough so that questions can be answered. And if they're doing the hands-on activities, they have an option to interact with each other.
Yeah, and what days a week did those?
That takes place on Thursdays, so we try to stagger everything so we don't have anything happening at once. We do have students that participate in all of our programs, and so we try to keep them on different days of the week.
Yeah, I know and it's easy for parents, who are not able to juggle driving the kids to various activities. So you just log in on your computer and you're good to go. And with this, so with this program, is it another one where they're able to earn a badge as well?
They do earn a badge, yep. So again, through Tallow, they can apply for a badge once they've completed the program. That digital badge goes on their profile, so.
That's good. Now, are they able to, let's say if you have like a senior who does some like various of the programs, are they able to get like college recommendation letters?
Yeah, I mean, for our in-person programs, one of the benefits is that, again, they're making those connections with BAE Systems employees who are really becoming their mentors and their confidants, and they're helping them through maybe even the application process for college, making sure that their resume looks up to snuff. And so a lot of times when we develop those relationships with the students, our volunteers are happy to write them letters of recommendation. Some of the students are also using the programs for class credit. So some of the schools in the area will allow them to take the hours that they've spent in our program and apply it to their curriculum at school.
That's fantastic. Now, with this program, the virtual program, are people able to repeat again? If I did it last year, can I do it this year?
They can, and the reason for that is that the content will vary. So it's really dependent on who are our volunteers and what are they passionate about and what do they want to talk about. And so it doesn't always repeat. Maybe a few of the modules will. But the nice thing about STEM Talks is if they don't want to attend, 1 week, that's okay. They don't have to come to all the sessions in order to have, completed the program.
Yeah. And with all the programs, are you trying to switch up the content? Is it something different every time there's a program, or is it like, recycle?
Yeah, I mean, foundationally, I think we try to stick with the core curriculum because we know that that works, and we know that the topics that we're teaching are really critical just to introduce the students to STEM, get them that foundational knowledge, give them a chance to explore and sort of understand what career pathways might exist. We have so many students that come in and say, I want to be an engineer, but I don't really know what that means. And I just want to find out when I say I want to be an engineer, what can I really do? And so I think at the core, these programs really help to answer that question for a lot of them. That being said, we want to obviously make sure that everything stays relevant.
Right.
So when new technologies are popping up, we want to try to integrate those into our programs. So for instance, with our focus program, we were able to get a 3D printer. And so now we've incorporated an element of 3D printing into the curriculum where the students get to design a component that will go on their robot with the 3D printer. So that's been a really cool addition to the curriculum.
And I bet that's popular.
It is, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the 3D printer because at our library right here in Hudson, we actually have one.
Oh, excellent.
And I've seen some of the stuff that they create on that, and I'm like, that came out of that thing.
Isn't it amazing?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and we mentioned coding before, and something just popped in my head. Now, in the Women in Tech program, is there an element of coding in there?
They do, yeah. So they have a software and mechanical module as well, and actually we use some of the Lego robotics
Nice.
to teach them the concepts around that. So they're doing a project that's based in that atmosphere that helps them learn aspects of mechanical and software engineering.
What do you think are the top skills that the students are learning in this program?
Yeah, again, I think it's really foundational. When you talk about STEM, it's so broad sometimes that it's easy to kind of get lost and to kind of just say, I know I want to do something, but I don't know what it is. So giving them the opportunity to really explore what different aspects exist for their career pathways and dive into a little bit of the detail about the technology behind some of these things that they might consider doing in the future.
No, and that's one of the things that I said when I was a speaker at Wicked STEM is the ability, the exposure, and encouragement to explore. Because like you mentioned, one of the things people always say is, oh, I want to get into tech, and they're like, help me. And I'm like, I don't know what that means because it's like, what part of tech, There's biotech, there's agriculture, there's so much. So I love the fact that they're getting their feet wet on various elements. So we talked about the virtual, we talked about 2 programs that are available, one for women in tech and one that's more co-ed. What other goodie do you have in your bag?
Yeah, so the last program that I'd love to highlight is our Engineering Career Day. And so this is a one-day program, which is really accessible for a lot of students because it happens during their school day. So we're actually partnering with schools in the local area to allow their students or potentially a classroom of students to come into BAE for the day. They get a little bit of background on the company. They get to do some tours of our facilities. So they get to see some of the cool technology that we're working on. They get to have lunch with our leadership, which is always a fun thing for the students to do.
I want to have lunch too.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then they also do a hands-on activity that demonstrates some of the engineering concepts. We partner a lot with other functions in our company. So our operations folks as well will partner with us on Engineering Career Day so that we're showing both aspects, right? The engineering side, but also how are we manufacturing those things once they're designed.
Yeah, and when is the Engineering Day typically?
Yeah, we haven't done that program for 2 years, so I'm really excited that we're bringing it back in 2023. It is a program that we try to run quarterly, so once a quarter, around 30 students. And again, we're usually working with specific schools because we need them to, help the kids get transportation during the school day.
And is it just is like an application process as well, or?
Yeah, typically the schools will be the ones that we'll be working with. So if there's an interested school, normally we're working with a teacher or somebody who potentially is like the head of their engineering department. They'll reach out to us to try to get coordinated. Obviously, everybody's been waiting for us to bring the program back, so I'm sure it'll be very popular as we head into next year.
And what's the age group of the students? Is this for high school?
Yep,
or
also for high school, 9 through 12.
Okay. Well, I feel like the middle schoolers are probably going to watch and say, well, what about us? Like, don't you have stuff for us?
Yeah. I hope that that's the next phase of what we'll be able to offer. Pre-COVID, we were talking a lot more about how to engage that middle school group because we realized that that's actually where it starts, right? And they're starting to explore their interest at that level. We want to be able to make sure that they stay interested in it and they don't lose, that insight that they could have had at the middle school ages. So we're working on a few things behind the scenes that hopefully will come to fruition in the next year or so for our middle school crowd. But we're also always happy to have engineers come out and talk to different classrooms. We do a lot with Alvern, actually, where we're sending our engineers to give talks or go to a career day so that they can be a resource for students as well.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So the one day and the engineering day is again still geared towards the high school students. And hopefully, like you said, it'd be kicking off in 2023. And you said you reach out to the school directly once that opens up.
Yep. We have a lot of school partners that we already work with, but I'm always looking to expand that. So obviously, I know things change and people change within the school districts. We do a lot of outreach, but we're also always happy to hear from schools that want to connect and want to partner with BAE Systems.
No, and this is fantastic. And I do believe also, I know that was not like on the list for us to talk about, but I'm also thinking of internships that you have once this high school students end up going to college.
Yeah.
I know BAE is known for their co-ops and their internship programs. Is there anything you want to highlight just a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So internships are a huge part of our pipeline building. I personally feel that we have one of the best internship programs around because our interns are working on real program work. They're embedded in their teams. They're not getting coffee. They're not, just, doing menial paperwork tasks. We also have a really cool summer project that all of our interns are eligible to participate in if they want, where they're collaboratively working with other interns across the company to solve a real world problem that we might have. They get to present that project to leadership at the end of the summer. So it's a really cool way for them to make connections, build their network, build their professional acumen. So I really love that aspect of our internship program. Our internships are starting to open now, which is something that maybe people don't know. It's very early. We try to open them by the holidays so that we can start interviewing, over the holiday break if they're, back from school, if they're already matriculating, and then have offers out very early in the year so that they know what they're up to for the summer.
Yeah, no, and I think that's how a lot of other industries do it. Like, the other companies like Microsoft and Google, you can't wait till May.
Oh yeah, they're all taken by that
they're
point.
Gone.
Yep.
Yeah, because internships are hot right now. I think having that hands-on training is so critical. And I mean, as somebody who went to law school, one of the disadvantages that I wish I had a mentor was someone saying, hey, go do an internship, go do that hands-on legal work. It is so imperative to take that class work, outside and go into the real life, right? Because the real life is different from just being in the classroom and getting those instructions.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So are they open now, the internships?
A lot of them are,
Okay.
yep. If they're not now, they will be shortly. So the best way that folks can find out about that is to go onto our job site. It's jobs.baesystems.com. Type in intern and everything that's available will come up.
Yeah, and they typically have any type of like, you have to have a certain GPA or grade to be able to get in?
We don't. Not all of them have a GPA requirement. So I would say it's probably a case-by-case basis, but all of that information would be in the requisition depending on what they're looking for.
Right, and I'm sure that probably some of it has to do with write a letter, so you probably have to write a compelling statement.
Yeah, do a cover letter. It's very interesting to me how many people don't these days, but again, just like with our student programs, we want to know why you want to come to BAE Systems and what you find interesting, and that can be a big differentiator for the hundreds of intern applications that we look at for the roles that we have available.
That's how you stand out for the crowd as someone who's guilty of not always being great with submitting cover letters. This is why you need a cover letter. They actually want one. So
I read them. I always read them. Some people don't, but I always do.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. All the available programs, and I'm really excited to see that there's some focus that's going to come hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years. Don't quote her on that. That's me saying hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years you have something for the lower grades.
Yeah,
The reason why I say that, I have the 10-year-old who's already like, I want to be an engineer,
Yep.
and she wants to learn how to code.
Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah, that would be a great program.
Definitely.
So is there anything else we should know about what's going on at BAE? In terms of the programs.
Yeah, I just think it's a really exciting time for students to get involved. We're really excited that we're finally able to invite them back into our buildings to connect with us in person after such a long pause due to COVID. We've spent a lot of time, revamping our programs in that time and making them exciting and making sure that they're really relevant. So if they're interested, I would just say make sure that you apply quickly, tell us why you want to be a part of the program, and we hope to see everybody in the near future.
Yeah, and all the programs just focus on engineering, because one thing I think about is I know there's program managers and there are project managers and then there are the financial teams. Is there any element of that in the program?
There is, yeah. We do try to weave that in quite a bit. So one example that I can give you for the focus program is that they actually have to do a design review. So they have to come up with like a project scope. So they're playing the role of project manager. They're obviously building their teamwork skills. They have a budget that they have to work with in order to get their supplies. So they have to kind of know the financial aspect. So, it all helps them be better engineers in the end if they understand all of those different concepts as well. So we do try to include that in the curriculum.
And I just thought about one again, contract managers as well. I see that's one area that you guys need a lot of too.
Absolutely.
So, this is fantastic. I think this is how we promote and celebrate STEM, by having these programs available. And I think right now with just the stats that are out there, where there is a shortage of engineers, especially women, this is a great way. And I think what BAE is doing is really helping to contribute to the STEM industry and getting more students exposed, engaged, and excited. I feel like I want to be part of these programs.
We get a lot of adults that are like, can I just come observe?
I feel like I want to come and watch, because this is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you so much for being here. If you open up any other programs that you feel like I need to share with the world, please let me know.
Absolutely.
I'll be more than happy to have you back. And kudos to BAE for their community engagement. I'm really impressed, and I'm sure the community is going to be quite excited to learn about all the various programs that are available. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. And everyone, thank you for watching another episode of Get Tech Smart. Stay tuned for more.